District regular board meeting for Thursday, March 25th, 2021 is now in session and called to order. Item 2 is roll call. Troy Stinson is present.
Neil Erickson
Sherry
present.
Ringen present.
Paul Martin present.
Stacy Popovich present.
Neil Erickson present.
We do have a quorum. All 5 board members are present. All right, and item 3 will be President's welcome and remarks. First of all, thank you for everybody tuning in. I know we've been doing these Zoom meetings for quite a while now. It's sounding like the governor may loosen up the restrictions come April 4th, I think is the date that I'm seeing. That it looks like they're going to loosen restrictions. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that we I can start moving back towards some sense of normalcy, or the new normal, I guess they're calling it. Things in the district have been busy for the district staff, and I'll wait till we get down to the Parks and Rec and then we'll talk about the rec center groundbreaking tomorrow and things of that nature. So welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. Daniel, do you have the flag?
Yes, I do. Bear with me just a second.
And do I have somebody volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and for liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Neil. All right. Item 4, approval of the agenda. As far as approval of the agenda, does anybody have anything on here? I see a list of things under unfinished from previous meeting. Is there anything on there, Jerry, board members, anything on there that would be considered, need to be discussed in executive session?
Main reason for placement of some of those items is just getting a statement saying that we're moving forward.
Okay.
Not looking at details, because I know some of those are being negotiated by Jerry and Ted. So as far as those items are concerned, there would just be a status update that we're in progress, or there are things to be worked on.
Okay.
So if they're okay
All
with that, then we're good. If not, we can go into executive session. So
Yeah, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there here later on. So if everybody's good, I'll motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? All right. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, approval and disapproval of board minutes, item 5.
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, a motion by Sherry and a second by Neil to approve the minutes. Any further discussion on them? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Was that 5? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item 6 will be attorney's report. Ted, floor is yours.
All of my comments relate to the item 10. So do you want me to get into that or wait till you decide if you're going to have an executive session? I'm
Well,
not
is there any,
suggesting you necessarily need to. I'm just saying it would be in relation to those items, which I would comment on.
well, I don't think unless we're not going to talk about anything that's being negotiated or anything, just a brief. I mean, we're not going to the
Correct.
details. Okay. Yeah, then go ahead. We'll mark them. I'll mark them off as you lay them out.
All right, number 1, meeting with Paintbrush. We did have a meeting. They were supposed to give me some written comments. They have not. So I don't have any progress to report. I've both called and emailed and was told I was going to receive some stuff. I haven't. The Guthrie line, Jerry's handling that, so I'll defer to Jerry regarding whether the documentation has been located.
Okay.
Vendor termination, that happened. We were gearing up for a more serious approach. Turned out to be handled calmly and quietly, and we have a new vendor. The international agreement updates, both international development and Circle K are just sitting. There's nothing new to report. We have a soft cost agreement signed. So that's kind of where we are. Nothing new or requiring any decisions at this point.
Okay. Any questions for Ted?
Thank you, Ted.
I have a side
Thanks, Ted.
comment, if I may.
Go ahead.
Neil's suggestion regarding these follow-up stuff is just excellent. Stuff had just naturally had a tendency to sit, but this was a yeoman effort going through all the prior material and creating this list. So it was very helpful, and thank you, Neil.
Chad.
Okay. Item 7, approval or disapproval of the financials.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials.
I did have one question on the financials.
Okay, go ahead.
So, and it appears in all 3 enterprises under payroll expenses. It says QBW. It says blank is budgeted, but we've spent $2,700, almost $2,800 in that.
Yeah, so that what is budget, we didn't budget anything for that, but that is a cost from QuickBooks that we were receiving. We have we have outsourced our payroll processing, so that should be done with now that cost from QuickBooks.
Okay. I was just curious. I just didn't see it before, and now it's 2,800 and 2 of the 3 enterprises. So, okay.
So that total cost was $5,600 between the 2 enterprises? In combination of both?
Yeah, park and rec and water.
Yeah, wastewater zeroed, so for that. Did that only affect those 2 enterprises, Rachel?
Yeah, it automatically applies, so I don't even touch that line usually, so.
Okay.
So that's a payroll expense that's just for processing through QBW?
Mhm.
Okay. And is that for just the quarter, just the month, or is that an annual?
It's for just the processing. So we process bi-weekly, so it probably, that shows the month.
So
So
that's
2 months, QuickBooks got $5,200. Wow.
I'm in the
Okay.
wrong line of work.
Yeah, me too.
So that's a run date of 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Based on your budget?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. And then that'll
So
go
is
away.
that going to keep popping up on there, or is that going to, now that the third party HR firm is handling that we don't have that line item anymore, correct? We're not going to have any more
Correct.
QBW charge? Okay.
Yeah, there
Have
should
we-
not be.
Have we had that line item in the past?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Okay, and we just didn't get it transferred over to that HR firm by the beginning of the year or something?
Yeah, it just took a minute to get that HR firm going fully, to get everything set up with all of our employees and everything with them.
So the new third-party vendor, Rachel, does that, do they break this out in their price costing as well? 'Cause I know
Yeah, they
companies like
have a-
ADP and stuff like that do that all the time, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll have their costs for the processing, and then they'll show the other part of like the actual payroll that came out of our account.
Okay, so it'll be a new cost, but it's gonna be a new cost coming from the new vendor, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and is that gonna be broken out into this same window?
I think we put it under employee costs when we did budgeting, so that's probably where it'll end up.
For the entire HR firm?
Yes. Yeah, so that's part of what they do is with the HR, they also do the payroll.
Okay, so, and that's the kind of the question here. So are we going to maintain this line item for payroll and then a separate line item for the HR costs, or is all that figured into the HR cost?
It's all figured into the same cost.
So
Under
from
the
here
line
on
item for the
out,
HR company or under the line item for each employee?
What was that?
Under the line item for the HR company as a whole for expenditure for the year? Or as under a line item for each division for payroll under employee cost?
It'll be under each division. So
Okay.
each division will have their own employee cost.
Okay. So the cost isn't going away, it's just being shifted to the separate enterprises and then broken down per class, per payroll section, per area, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Rachel, I don't want to complicate things, but the way I understood it, under employee costs, the payroll expenses is a zero line item on our on our 21 budget. And our HR firm is set up, they charge us a percentage of our payroll. So each enterprise is has the expense based on that percentage?
Correct.
Okay. I'll be quiet now.
So then that's figured into the budget for each department, correct? Or each enterprise?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I just need a little clarification because I remember we discussed some of this prior at the budget meeting. Okay, thank you.
so is the new HR cost all of that, the whole firm is going to be sitting in employee costs, whether it's payroll or whatever else they're doing?
Yeah, it's all under that HR line because they're just charging us that 1% of our payroll. And they do all the different aspects. So they pay our taxes, they do our payroll. They also help with HR. They're reworking our handbooks right now, all of that.
Okay. I did have, it's not an employee cost or HR cost, but I did have one more question on the locating service.
Yeah,
It looks like it's budgeted a little high. Um, are they on a 12-month period? This is what we pay them every single month?
I believe that they are on a flat fee, yeah, but of course, they didn't get started right away in 2021. I'd just like to back up just a little bit back to the payroll. Um, It was, it- I found out that traditionally, historically, payroll was always contracted out. And this was something that changed during the change of the guard kind of. But certainly, um, uh, so it was a task that was added to staff at one point. Um, And so it isn't unusual for us to have payroll being done by a contractor.
Okay. Yeah, I think those were the two things. I just saw that locating was a little higher than we should be in February, and so I didn't know if they were a flat fee 12 months out of the year. I'll go ahead and second the approval of the financials.
Okay. All right, I got a motion to approve by Sherry and a second by Stacy. Is there any other discussion on the financials for February? Okay, all in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item 8, be Parks and Rec report. Jed, you on here?
Yes, sir. All right. Hope everyone's doing well. All right. Just to kind of start, maintenance doing a great job. Replaced pool lights. I think that was started prior to me coming on board, and they finished that recently. Working on some benches for our outdoor basketball court to kind of finalize that project for the summer. Been doing a great job as far as the weather and keeping things clean and usable by the community. And then plan on finishing off those tee pads as soon as the weather allows us, hopefully this April. But those two guys are doing just awesome jobs. So I'll get back to the RCE edition. I know there's a few different conversations to be had with that. The classes continue to grow, continue to do well. I think we have 19 signed up for our cooking class this weekend, and those types of things are kind of through the roof. Bunko, I think, is up to 24 for Friday night. So we'll continue to grow those and look for different unique ways of promoting those things and getting the word out there just to keep them fresh. Balkan bathroom, did meet with 2 different architects. They're supposed to get back to me when I spoke to Regional Building. Excuse me. And that was where they guided us to kind of start our project, meet with them, kind of get some ideas on paper, see what the costs might be. So I'm waiting for those architects to send me some numbers. Talk to Wells and West Construction, and those are the 2 architects that they recommended. So I'll follow up with them, and obviously as soon as we hear from them, I'll give you kind of the numbers and the game plan of where that will go. We're looking to add some different things, guitar. So we've kind of promoted, kind of put feelers out there for guitar instructors, looking into a co-ed softball league, summer basketball league. So those types of things we're continue to kind of add to our list of things that we offer at our rec centers or Parks and Rec as a whole. sponsorships, promotional stuff. We are just starting to advertise for our summer golf tournament. We have a date on that finally. I believe it's the last Saturday in June. So we're looking for sponsor signs for each hole. Reach out to the community. They can promote their business and offset some costs and raise some more money for the foundation that we're promoting. I'm going to add, I know it's not on that list, but we just heard back from Stratus IQ. They finished their first month of promotion with us, and they had six people sign up or add to their list. So we made $240 off gift cards, gift certificates that they purchased for those people. So that was a good start. And I believe they said 3 more are already signed up for next month. So it's kind of a little perk that they're offering. And I think it's a good way to get our name out there also. So upcoming activities, we have our disc golf league that we're promoting, all sorts of summer camps, baking, cooking, soccer, basketball, football, baseball. So we'll kind of grow those. And we have coaches that are going to run those for us, pay them a small fee, and promote it. So those are going well. Annual golf tournament, as I said before, at our Antlers Creek Military Appreciation Day. We just made that flyer and get the word out there for that. Summer concerts. And as I said, all those different classes of painting classes, story time, cooking, baking, game nights, and et cetera, et cetera. So those are all doing really well. Spring soccer starts next week. When I wrote this, we had 80 participants. We actually have 105 as I'm talking now, which is fantastic, I think, with everything going on in COVID world and that type of thing. So I think our numbers are really good there. Spring break camp is something that we tried. We ended up having 10 participants first year trying that. So we had 10 kids sign up, and a couple each day. And they did all sorts of different activities from swimming to arts and crafts, story time, obviously playing in the child watch room, that type of thing. So that went well. Pool rentals as a whole, we have a second kayaking group. Cannot think of the name of it off the top of my head. I can get that to you if you need. It is a group for disabled vets, kind of a therapeutic group that's renting out our pool once a week, Fridays, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and got to watch it last week, and it was really, really cool experience. So hopefully we'll kind of grow that. That's the second kayaking grouping that we've had join us. We have another one that comes Thursday nights, 4 to 6. And that's kind of more open to different groups of people, but really cool to watch. If you're ever bored one night, you want to come over and check that out. Added a Girl Scout group. They reached out. They're renting twice a month for the next 4 or 5 months, I believe it is. Party rentals are picking up. I think we have 2 this weekend. I think we had 2 last weekend. So those are really starting to take off. People are kind of starting to use our facilities and use them well. And we'll continue to grow those rental opportunities for everybody. Land, I know this was also on a different piece of the agenda. I did reach out to the fire chief and talk to him about purchasing the land and what that would look like and subdividing. And he was going to go back to his board this month and talk to them about how that would all look and if they were willing to do all that and get back to us. So hopefully in the near future, I'll have an answer for you guys or at least some more information. We can kind of revisit that again in the near future. One thing I did not put on here, but I'll just kind of throw it out with the winter weather. We have had some RCE leaks, roof leaks in the pool area again. So I've been reaching out and trying to get some different estimates. As we know, the cost of metal and that type of thing has gone up. So another metal roof, is going to cost a decent amount of money. The first 2 estimates that I've gotten so far, one is around $383,000 as of now. And obviously can kind of grow as we dissect this over time. And the other one was from Peak View Roofing, and that was 420,000. So just kind of start digesting that. We are going to have them temporarily fixed so that the leaks are kind of contained for now. And then discuss the idea of replacing that roof at some point in the near future. So those are the first two estimates I've gotten. Back to the RCE edition. We're excited. Tomorrow's groundbreaking, and I believe you guys don't know about this. We finally got our permits. I know in the letter that I initially put out that we hadn't received them. They came in today. We got an email from Hammers that we finally got them. So we're ready to go. Perfect timing. Groundbreaking tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Another thing we're looking into, and this was definitely a Jerry idea. So, and I like it. And I think we're going to go with it is like in memory bricks or in honor of or in loving memory, that type of thing. And kind of sell those bricks and make like a wall of fame type thing in that new building as you enter in those gym doors. And I think that'll be a really cool addition to that building. So we're looking at the pricing on what those bricks or tiles would cost and how that would all look. What else? We had some dirt work they were talking about doing in the near future. Now that the permits are done, they're going to be delivering some dirt. They did the locates on a gas line, which has to be moved just a little bit. And then we received a letter today. I believe you guys all have copies of this. An email from Hammers that came in today. Requesting a no-cost extension for a 30-day calendar delay with the backup of metal. Elliot has kind of asked us to give them a reprieve, I guess, on that $500 per diem after each day that they go past September 29th. So that's something that obviously needs to be discussed. I think we have some different options. I have not had a chance to look at the contract. I don't know if Jerry or Ted have, or anybody has, since we got the letter. So I'm not 100% sure what that clause says in there at this point, but obviously we can read that tomorrow. But if it's something that's on them, you guys can discuss whether you want to just hold them to that, if you want to give them a little bit of reprieve and go half, or kind of do nothing for now and see where it all takes us. And maybe they kind of, I don't want to say pressure to move a little faster on the project or push their suppliers a little bit. I guess that would be another option, and kind of see where that progress takes us and then revisit this down the road. But they did send that email out today asking for a no-cost extension on those 30 days that they're anticipating. So I'll kind of throw that at you guys.
Jed, what's the time frame that we have to respond?
He didn't say in here, and again, if I'm wrong on this, please correct me. I don't think we're in a rush to respond to this. I think we can kind of throw that back at them, and I think our first step is to look at that contract, to be really honest with you, and see what that clause says. If it's something that's out of their control and it's built in there, and they can add 30 days without us getting some money back, then that's that. If it's not built into that contract, then we have an opportunity to, I guess, possibly get some money back on this project. So I think step one is obviously read that contract and see what that clause says. But I don't see a time frame on this as I read through it.
So I did look at the contract, and Ted, it looks like section E of that contract covers what what's being addressed here. So look to you for some input there. You're on mute.
And what
I'll take a
read
look
the
at it in the morning.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Ted said he'd take a look at it in the morning.
Fantastic.
There were some other things on here for item 10 for follow up. One of them was the fire suppression system for the RCE, and I believe we agreed last meeting that we were going with the fire suppression system.
Yep. As we left it last meeting, I reached out to the fire chief. We wanted clarity on whether the insurance company was saying we did not need it. Hammers was saying that we did not need it by code. That's all accurate. And then in talking to the fire chief, he also agreed you did not need it. And then it was kind of on us as a group to make that decision whether we wanted to include it or save that $35,000 to $40,000. And kind of you can install it later on if you feel, but you can't take it out once it's approved by regional, if I'm understanding correctly.
So I wanted that item back on the agenda, just so that we were clear with the community and they understood that, you know, it's not required. It is a cost for the community and the homeowners. It is something that we did budget for originally anyway, so it's not additional cost. Isn't that correct, Chad?
Yeah, I believe that was in the initial.
So we had planned on having that in there. It's not required by law and not by building code, but for the betterment of the people that use that facility, those that are inside that facility, I think it's a wise decision to make sure that we have the fire suppression system installed. I think adding it later, like Troy said last time, would be such a huge cost for something that could be done in foresight instead of hindsight. So.
If I could say that I checked with an engineer and he said the fire flow from our fire hydrants is more than adequate. If the fire flow was not adequate, then a fire suppression system would be required. One thing that's been pointed out to me is a fire suppression system, first of all, you know, they require maintenance. We have a team that comes in and inspects RCE annually, correct, Jed?
Yes.
And then I would also say that I've had experience where fire suppression systems have gone off, you know, without a fire, and they will destroy the inside of that building and all of our equipment. So I think it's something to be considered. The other thing I was going to suggest is that maybe you look at what it takes to set a fire suppression system off. It seems like smoke alarms and things would be an early warning system for people to evacuate a building. By the time the fire suppression system, the fire gets to a point where the fire suppression system comes on, I would think it would be pretty well a pretty big fire. I'm not exactly sure, you know, what temperature those things go off at, but well, that's the other thing. Actually, at RCE, didn't we have a problem with it? We lost our heat, it froze and flooded the front office or something, Jed?
Yeah, that was prior to me coming on board, but yeah, I know the office flooded and part of the child watch room.
So anyway, it was just something that, you know, you might want to consider in some of these points. So, but I believe that Hammers was looking for a decision on that pretty quick, because if I remember the email correctly.
On which one? On
the fire suppression.
And we had talked about it last meeting about going forward with the fire system.
Right.
But it has any change in ideas on that? It's built in already to the building. It's already built into the current contract, right?
Yes.
And the permitting for the building plans, it's already built in there. was my understanding.
I believe that the mechanical permit hasn't come through yet. So
Okay.
the last email that I back and forth with Elliot, this would be the time to finalize that. Yes, you're keeping it, or no, let's take it out and not have it in for now.
Okay, I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna motion that we move forward and leave the fire suppression system in there.
I'll second it.
And I have a second by Sherry. Is there any further discussion on it? Okay, all in favor of leaving the fire suppression system in there? Say aye.
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 Aye. And any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The fire suppression system stays.
All right, I will email Elliot. Well, we'll see him tomorrow anyway, but and let him know that. And I think on my end, that was about it.
Bob system update for CCW. We're still under the same restrictions, correct?
Yes, and I heard the same thing that you've heard as far as April 4th, possibly loosening them, and I kind of figured at that moment we can kind of revisit whether we want to open up that fob system or if we want to have a game plan now if they do loosen up.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on that as far as the fob system at CCW?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Troy, I have a question.
Go ahead, Ted.
What decision did you just make regarding the extension of the Hammer contract?
We did not. You said you were going to review it in the morning.
That was regarding the per diem amount.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to wait then?
Well, none of us have the contract in front of us, so I can't.
No, I appreciate that. I meant you're going to wait to make a decision till you learn about the per diem amount. Is that fair?
Yeah, and what is built into that contract? Because without
Sure.
knowing that, I think we'd be making a blind decision on that
All right,
based
that's
off of an.
just trying to get clarification. Thank you.
I was going to enlist Daniel to use his influence at the governor's office to get those restrictions on our Parks and Rec waived.
Wrong party, Jerry. All right, so we're good on the fob system. We're gonna wait till change. I know the county commissioners had made a proclamation to kind of hurry the governor along on Tuesday at their meeting. But my understanding is there has not yet been any response from the governor's office or administration to the county commissioners in that to that proclamation, unless you know something different, Daniel.
I have not.
Okay.
So the soonest we'll make a change on that will be in next meeting.
Yeah. Hopefully we have some more solid what they're doing. I know they just opened up. They've got a bunch more vaccinations here in town now. They just sent out a mass group of emails for folks to go get back.
Did that today.
Fantastic. And Jerry, how are we? That was the other question I had written down over here was as far as vaccinations and our staff. I know they had reached out asking, I believe they should have reached out asking how many doses we needed for the.
Yes, they did reach out to us, and actually they provided an opportunity for staff to sign up for vaccinations, which of course that link was distributed to all the staff members. I do not know how many took advantage of that. Um, You know, there was, there's also been some talk in HR circles about making vaccinations mandatory in workplaces. I don't think anything's been decided on that, but at any rate, that isn't here yet. So I left it to the staff to go ahead and make their own appointments as as they wish. So I can only say that a certain amount of our staff has been vaccinated.
Okay. All right.
So, of course, cleaning and videoing mains is a warm weather endeavor. So that really is weather dependent. We have our lift stations operational. Maintenance has been kept up and everything's operating as it should. Falcon Meadows Campground is something that is new, maybe new to some of you. We are providing sewer service to the Falcon Meadows campground. And so they're a new customer of ours. They're should be hooked up probably within the month. It's kind of weather dependent also. But that's a welcome addition. We've been working on this for about 3 years, actually. So
I had a question on that, Jerry.
Yeah.
So I know Falcon Meadows for the longest time had an explanation where folks bring their trailers in from anywhere, dump them there for a fee. Are they going to go back to that? Are we accounting for that, or are we just billing them per however many gallons they're shipping down, or how's that fleshed out?
Right, we will be billing them on their flow is metered, and we will be
Okay.
reading that meter monthly and billing them accordingly.
Okay.
So for the wastewater plant, still performing well. We're in compliance with our discharge permit. Again, wet test pass. That's a real pleasure for us to have that happen because it never happened in the past under the lagoon system. We do have some foam on the basins. They did remove that physically. They take the vac truck out and actually take that off to try to keep that from causing any trouble. We did have a mixer that somehow the electrical cord got in the way, but so that's been pulled out and is in for repairs. Another one has been placed in service. And of course, the generator was serviced, including a load bank. Now, all of our generators, we have generators at all the lift stations and also the wastewater plant. And they all get serviced twice a year and load bank tested once a year. Water side, everything is operating normally. Bacteria samples, of course, came back in good shape. We are working on finding utilities at the Theriot transfer station. We're planning on building a new transfer pump station and incorporating treatment in that pump station. Right now, the treatment for those wells is actually accomplished at FP1. However, we do have couple of wells that are not able to be treated at FP1. So by moving treatment to Theriot, we will be able to treat all of our wells. And treatment, when I talk about treatment, what it is we're filtering the well water to remove iron and manganese. And so we make every attempt to remove just as much as we possibly can. It's not something that can be accomplished 100%. And of course, when iron manganese gets into your water system, it precipitates out and lays in the bottom of the water main. And of course, we have a flushing program to try to control that. But occasionally you have like a fire hydrant being used for training or for putting out a fire. Anyways, anything that increases flow in your water main, whether it's the operation of a fire hydrant or a broken water main, it causes that sediment that's deposited in your water mains to be disturbed, and then people have yellow water complaints. Just wanted to make sure everyone knew that some discolored water, while it's aesthetically not acceptable, it is does not affect the water quality, other than that the water has some color to it. So we did have some problems at a PRV. Bypass pipe had developed leaks. They promptly took care of that. Of course, the vault, it's in a vault in the street, and they had to pump out that vault before they could make entry. We had a episode where, you know, this happens in the water and wastewater side, where a couple things happen coincidentally and make it look like you have a big problem. And it just so it's, but it turns out that there wasn't a big problem. It just simply was, you know, two events that happened simultaneously that weren't related, but they had every appearance of being related. And so, but it causes a lot of activity for the water operators when they have low pressure situations, because of course that typically means there's a major leak somewhere. So, but fortunately, this it wasn't caused by the major leak, and so we didn't have any real difficulties. I'm not sure, I can't answer why a customer would call with a low pressure complaint. Typically, when you have a customer with low pressure, it's because they very possibly have a filter on their household plumbing, and as those filters do their work, of course, they accumulate some of that, possibly some of that rust that I was talking about earlier, and eventually, you know, the filter would become plugged up with that material. Plus, the other thing about water is that we disinfect water. We do not sterilize it. So if you have water that has light and any kind of decent temperature, you're going to start having growth. You know, people see it in their humidifiers and et cetera, where they'll see some like a red film or something. You know, this is an algae that grows, and it is a natural occurring thing when you have water and a carbon source and light and heat. Now, this is the type of thing that's going to happen. And if you don't change your water filter, eventually you can get growth on that will actually prevent water from going through that filter. And it appears as low pressure. That's what the complaint is. But in actuality, it's low flow. The pressure is, when it's static, is correct. But as soon as you open a tap, not enough water can get it past the filter to replace the water that's being drawn, and it appears like you have low pressure. So at any rate, like I said, that complaint was not justified, wasn't an indicator of any problem in our system. construction in Bentgrass is ongoing. It's going well. They're actually have come to me with finals, I believe it would be a final set of plans with another 71 homes. And this is called, I believe it's Falcon Meadows filing 1. So they're anxious to move forward with the rest of Bentgrass. Of course, our staff is on site doing all the inspections and making sure everything's installed properly. We did have some storm related stuff. You know, some employees just absolutely couldn't come to work because their roads weren't plowed and they were impassable. We had plenty of staff to take care of things on a storm day, and so things were taken care of in good order. I just commend the staff that did brave the elements to get out here and take care of our system. So that's it.
Any questions for Jerry?
Yes. No.
Okay.
No, thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. All right, we're on item 10, and I think we've hit, actually, Jerry, we are going to keep you on here. Item 10.2, the Guthrie line.
Okay. So Guthrie line is just, ongoing. I'm working with Meridian. They own half of that Guthrie line, and it's just simply that we have to determine property owners in order to get the easements taken care of, and so that's what we're working on.
Okay.
Jerry, have you found the agreement?
I have not found agreements in our records, and Meridian has not found agreements, and we've also inquired with previous manager of Woodman Hills as to what may have happened to those, and of course it was too long ago, he doesn't recall. So we're basically starting over on those 3 things.
Have you considered getting a title commitment which would reflect all recorded interests?
Well, I will turn that over to you, Ted. We'll talk tomorrow or Monday.
Oh, okay.
And
That's fine.
let you pursue that, see if anything comes out of it.
All right. That'll tell us whether there's any agreement recorded.
Yeah, so far we have not been able to find any recorded agreements. But I do have a couple, and you would think that they all would have been there at the county, but
Yeah, we've got one that says Exhibit A, so it's got to be an exhibit to something, but we don't have the something that it's attached to.
correct. So
All right, so I'll follow up.
good.
All right, then item 10.5. I don't understand what that is. Follow up on financials given to the board by Jerry. Was this from last meeting?
I don't know.
That question was actually answered and sent out to the board by Jerry, so we had given it to Rachel to answer, and Jerry replied, so we got the answer.
Perfect. Did we miss anything in there?
On the list, or
Yeah, I think we did on the list on 10, in item 10.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Jed mentioned discussing purchasing rather than leasing the fire protection property. Is that a
That's
new
on-
discussion?
No, we talked about that, and he had put it on his report there that the fire department needed to go back to their board see what they were able to do with that property at this point.
Well, I heard that part. I'm asking from our side, are we considering purchasing rather than continuing, rather than a lease? That's all.
My
What-
understanding is property can't be subdivided.
That was my understanding too. If this says this property was presented before, and apparently is, so this isn't a new item. Originally, I think this property was intended to be built on, and I'm not sure why it never was. Could be because of the placement of the infrastructure to service the fire department. However, what the deal is, Ted, is they made an offer verbally that maybe we could take over the water main and the sewer main that's on their property and in exchange, we would get use of the property.
Right.
Whether that meant owning it or having a 100-year lease or what, we don't know that yet, so.
And that's what I thought was the alternative, was $1 a year lease, with us taking on the maintenance and then building some athletic field right there. That's the last thing that I knew. I wasn't aware of a discussion about a purchase, and the lease seems so much simpler and easy, and we don't have to worry about really much of anything. It's just a straight $1 a year lease, and we take over the maintenance. Seems simple enough.
So Ted, if the property can't be subdivided, could we still lease a portion of that property from the fire department?
I think yes.
Okay. Good.
You're not changing the zoning or subdividing or doing anything. You're just leasing it from the landowner for $1 and you're taking on the maintenance responsibilities. It's a real simple deal. So the discussion about the purchase just adds levels of complication, which I mean, subdivision being an example, it's adding levels of complication, which I'm just questioning whether you need to do that.
And I can just hear the gears turning in Jed's head right now, what he can do with that piece of land.
Right. If we're paying $1 a year, I mean, that even in my feeble mind, that's not a hard decision.
He's salivating. Licks her, just licking.
So who's going to follow up on the lease discussion?
We're waiting on the fire department's going to meet with their board, and then they'll get back to us in April.
But as I understood, the board discussion was regarding purchase. Does it include the option of lease?
Yes, when I spoke to the chief, we kind of threw everything out on the table, purchasing it, leasing it, and kind of see where they're at and then come back to us.
Okay, so a lease is an option. It is on the table.
Yeah, we were discussing every possible avenue here.
It's really a business decision rather than a legal one, but if you can rent it for $1 a year, boy, I'd grab that so fast. So up to y'all.
All right, we're good on that. All right,
Stay
we'll move on.
tuned to Neil's comments about continuing scenarios. This is one, Neil.
Item 11, board follow-up on older items. Item 11.1 is IT and email issues. I know my email is working again. And I think that new IT, yeah, I've seen them up there when I was up there was it last week? What, they seem to be a little bit more engaged than the other IT. Have all of our IT issues been met right now? Where are we at with computers and stuff right now?
I'll
I
speak
think
for
all of our computers have been installed, all the new computers. And
Okay.
I know that my microphones didn't work on either one of my laptops, and now they're both working. I'm not cutting out. It seems like our Wi-Fi is stronger than it used to be. I My computer is operational. I don't, not having any difficulties at this moment. I think they've been pretty responsive to problems that we've had. I know that Jed's having some problems right now over at RCE, but they couldn't resolve it from their help desk. But they're sending someone out tomorrow. Is that correct, Jed?
Yeah, we've been down for about a day and a half now as far as emails, able to take payments, everything pretty much. Our Wi-Fi is actually on the other end of that spectrum, pretty weak. So they are coming tomorrow morning to try to remedy all of that. So we haven't had as much success, but hopefully tomorrow everything gets fixed and we move on.
Okay.
Rachel, is the front office satisfied with their computers right now? For the
Yeah, I
most
would
part?
say we're all satisfied in the front office. We got everything installed. I know we are still moving. We're working on, they said by after their 30 days, we should have Office 365 up and running. So we won't be in the moving area. I don't know. I can't remember what they called it exactly, but
Migrating.
so that should be done.
Mhm.
And then 90 days, they said the cloud should be done.
What are they doing to address any security issues as far as the email as a server and all that stuff? They have everything isolated as far as,
So I know they installed WebRoot into all of our computers, and they just put up Cisco Meraki's as far as firewalls go at all of our facilities.
and then is there an eventuality because it's Office 365? I know that we're putting all the public documents, making them available. And then we've got documents, based per board member review, if we're going to make those accessible to the board once they're loaded.
Like their SharePoints, like
Yeah.
that way? Is that?
Yeah, they can
Yeah,
make it.
so I know that that's their plan.
Okay. And do you have an ETA on when they're going to have that done?
The goal is in the first 30 days, but definitely within the first 90.
Okay. And have they finished moving everything over from the server for prior docs?
So we still have our old server in place. But they were saying it's got really low memory in it. And so that's part of why it's moving so slow, is that our memory is at like, I don't remember exactly, but it's slow. So they are working on moving all of our like P drive and our M drive, all of those to SharePoint. And they're also working on moving everything else on the server to the cloud base.
So they're going to move the entire server completely to cloud?
Correct.
Okay.
And then the physical ones that'll be in office, I think, are just going to be backups, I believe.
Okay.
I'd say that the waste plant, the first day that IT was out there, the new IT was out there and worked with those guys. It seemed like they remedied all their problems that they've been trying to get fixed for months. Is that what you recall, Rachel?
I do, yeah, that's what they said to me as well. So it's just a matter of getting them fully on board and getting things up to par that weren't there, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah, we had Wally in the office and we mentioned computers and he smiled. That was a big deal.
Right?
So I know that there's a history of some old documents that are still being transferred in and scanned in. They're still sitting in boxes from a few years ago. Is that still true, or have all those been converted?
We still have documents in boxes. We are scanning though as we go, so.
Okay. Is there, with the new IT company, do they have the ability to scan those in and put them in at the same time and set up the system for all docs?
I don't know, but I can ask.
Okay, can we find out if they've got a fee and how much that fee is since we're using them as a new service?
Yes.
I know the prior fee last year, was $10,000 for that company to come in and do it. And I believe I'd have to go back through the minutes, but I believe the board approved that to be done so that we could get all those documents pushed over as far as digitally and try to limit the boxes and boxes of documents. So yeah, that'd be pretty critical. Let's get, we don't want to be like the VA St. Louis fire where we lose, something happens where we lose most of the documents that we're required to keep up by law when we could have them backed up.
Or more insulting is a water break in the water department.
Yeah.
Rachel? Rachel,
Yes.
we're talking computers here, my vast knowledge. Your lips are not synced with your voice right now. And there's
I think it's my internet because it's so slow.
it says Rachel Hawkins' network bandwidth is low.
Right,
lives in-
Jerry has the same issue.
She lives in Elbert County.
Okay. And then on a more important note, Rachel, that picture behind you of the cow, you
Yeah.
see that? I have that, my wife has that same picture on my wall at home, and she's up at CSU right now, spending the night delivering a calf.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, they've got 26 of them to deliver. And she's been,
Ooh.
last time we went through this, she slept on hay bales. This time she's in the office on the couch. Checking the
That'll be better
checking the
for her,
cow.
I'm sure.
Checking the cow at 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 6 o'clock.
Rachel, could you move your computer and get your head out of the way so we all can see that picture?
There you
I don't
go.
need to.
It's on the wall of my house.
All I see is hamburger.
I can show you some of that too in our freezers.
I believe, was that picture taken at the last meet out? Was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of
All
those
right, so-
survivors.
Any other IT and email issues? All right. Item 11.2, HR edition update. How's the transition going over to the HR company with the payroll and everything?
So it's been pretty good so far. All of our employees can now get their pay stubs electronically, so they don't have to come and get a physical one. So that'll be nice for them, especially when they start needing them if they get a mortgage or something. We also will be getting new time tracking system, which is included with this company. And that'll go so that way we don't have any issues, because Jed was having some issues with that over at the rec center. So that'll be updated, and they are updating our handbooks right now. So
Okay. Any questions? And then item 11.3 was the water tank update. Where are we at with that, Jerry? Is that that's completed, correct? Other than landscaping this spring?
I'm not exactly sure what it's referring to, but yeah, the new water tank has been operational for a few months now, and but there is some landscaping that can take place until the weather is cooperates for, growing stuff. So the other water tank issue is looking at having our tank up in the Meridian Tank Farm either demoed or and the steel sold for scrap, or taking that tank and moving it to the Theriot site. At the Theriot site, we have a 1 million gallon tank, and we also have a 250,000 gallon tank. The 250,000 gallon tank provides some backup if we have to take the 1 million gallon tank offline for maintenance. However, a 250,000 gallon tank isn't a big strong point in the system. So I am investigating having that tank from Meridian moved to the Theriot site. And I haven't gotten, I've had interested companies, but I haven't received any quotes.
Is Meridian not expressing any intention of buying that tank from us?
They haven't replied. Meridian just hired a new GM. Their previous GM is retiring. And that, as a matter of fact, we've been trying to coordinate so we can have a meeting and meet each other face to face. They did mention it. Actually, Tech Build out in San Diego did mention it, but I haven't had any firm offers from them, and which is fine. I mean, the tank is in reasonably good condition, and we had actually budgeted about, I think it was $400,000 to repaint the interior of that tank. And so obviously I'm not going to do that. We would, but we would obviously have to if we move the tank. So, and then the 250,000 gallon tank, we also had a couple $100,000, I think, budgeted to repaint the interior of that tank also. So it would be a much strengthen our system quite a bit to have a larger tank on that site, especially as we grow. Anyway, I'll keep you updated as soon as I get more quotes, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Jerry.
Mhm.
All right, soft costs, that's, unless anybody had any questions on that, that was done. As far as, soft cost agreement.
Yeah, it's still working.
All right, item 12, public comment regarding current board business not on the agenda. Is there anybody out there that had any public comment? No, going once, going twice. All right. Okay, item 13, other business.
Troy, I have two things that I wanted to follow up on. I know that Rachel was in the process of doing ACH transactions for reoccurring flat rate fees, utilities, things like that that can auto pay instead of writing checks. I've been trying to do better about coming in and signing checks, and it seems like a lot of the checks every single month are for the same vendor, the same amount. And I wanted to find out what the status was on that. So we'll start there.
You still on there, Rachel?
So, yeah, I'm here. Some of our checks are paid automatically, like our electric, we automatically pay, and some of our trash, we pay those online. However, the way we tried to do the ACH transfer with our engineers, we had no way to verify their account. So we haven't been able to do that, and it was actually not recommended from our bank to do it that way. So we're just looking at what the best option in trying to do that would be.
bank recommended not to do ACH?
Yeah, they did. They said, because there's no way to know who's on the other side.
Well, so I do that for a living. And there is a way to verify. Is the account for each one of those different every time? Or does the engineers have a singular account and a singular bank, or do they change banks all the time?
I would imagine they have the same bank and the same account.
Okay. So the way it's done in financial industry is you verify the master, you don't take anything in email, and you confirm the wire or the transfer of the ACH transaction prior before send to verify that it's a legitimate account. Once that's been done and established, then that account stays in place. Otherwise, every bank in the United States would not do ACHs, and they'd be all out of business just because they couldn't do mortgage and they couldn't do commercial land purchase or any of that stuff. So I would recommend taking a look at the federal laws and what they say about doing wire transfers and ACH transfers. And I'd ask the bank again, because when I talked to them, they didn't make that suggestion, so they may have changed their mind since we talked, a while ago. So
Well, this could probably be investigated, but right now, we've been bringing in new IT, bringing in new HR, bringing in new staff. Rachel's right now interviewing for a position, so we've kind of had our hands full. It's not something that we can't revisit, and get some definitive answers. But right, Rachel, would you agree?
Correct.
Okay. One thing and this goes back to our payroll also, one thing we have to satisfy, of course, is our auditors, and our auditors. I mean, we're just a different animal than a lot of institutions, and I think we want to talk to them about pursuing this, and that's another reason why going to an outside source for payroll was prudent, because of the separation that's required for our auditors. So have we had any input from our auditors on automatic payments, Rachel?
We have, the way we have to do it is we have to enter it on one side, and then it has to be approved on a separate side in order to push through.
Right.
So we would just need to log in to authorize the transaction to go through.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that, from what my understanding of what the new IT company has told us about security on our system, I'm much more comfortable with what they're doing, and the degree of security that we have. It seemed that there might have been some weakness in our security before. Do you find that true, Rachel, or no?
I would say.
Okay.
Just to make the observation, there's a lot of chatter in the legal community about wire transfers and wire transfer fraud, and a lot of issues with that. So just flagging the fact. It's
Wire transfer right now is significantly on the rise, as far as from folks being able to use other people's account information to get somebody to send them money. It's not just the IRS and the car warranty companies calling people these days. So
the mortgage industry goes through that, which is the reason why they actually output documents that state we do not accept emailed wire transfers. I can send you a copy of that and their process, because they're doing, to the tune of trillions of dollars of transactions per year in that industry, and they seem to manage not to miss their ACHs. I understand the concern, so I get it. It was just something that was put in place a while back and, we didn't see it come to fruition. I think it's more the question that Stacy had. But,
Yeah.
on the other end,
When you're following up on that, Rachel, can you also check with them on how they would do the signatures for the board members, as far as being able to, who would be authorizing those ACH payments every month? The
Yeah,
system
I will ask.
it requires board member signatures, so for those payments.
Also, I had a question. You know what? I'm gonna refrain from that question. I'll just ask when I come in and sign checks next week. Now that I thought about that one, it prompted something, but I guess the next thing I wanted to find out is I know in the budget that the budget committee put together, there was an additional payment going to be made on our bonds. I remember hearing something, or maybe I read it somewhere, that it needs a 12-month notice to do something like that.
Yes.
Have we gone ahead and initiated that already? Since it's March.
I believe I did reach out to the bond, our bond guy already and initiated it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I have, so.
Excellent. That was all I had.
Just to follow up on your question, Stacy, have we heard anything back from bond folks, Rachel? From Kyle?
No, I haven't heard anything. He's supposed to have me everything, I think, by next week.
Okay.
they have everything they need and what they'd asked for in prior meetings.
Yes, they have everything that they need, and they're just going through the stuff to make sure they give us the best options.
Okay. So then are we planning on having a negotiation session next meeting regarding this, or
Which one?
for the bond?
If they have everything, we would have to have an executive session to talk about that next meeting.
Okay.
So once we get everything, let's make sure that all that gets pushed out to everybody so they can be reviewing that.
Yep, we will.
Thank you for putting those packets out on Friday. It is much easier
welcome.
instead of cramming before the board meeting.
I'm sorry my agenda was late.
All right. Any other business?
If I may,
No.
may not.
No, go ahead.
Just an observation for Jed regarding COVID. He's sitting, he's got such volume of contact with the public with the various programs that they've got going on. I would really encourage him to make sure that all of the staff wear masks and honor that stuff, because if a problem's going to happen, somebody's going to say, well, you deal with the public, yet you didn't take the preventive things you should have done. You're just setting yourself up for problems. So just good business practice, because he's dealing with so much of the public, is to have the staff honor those things.
That was yet another question. Actually, that brought up a good point, Ted. Very good point. As far as Jerry and Jed in the shots offering access to the COVID vaccinations, I believe some of the shots are been deemed safe for 16 and older. Are we reaching out to parents of our folks that are 18 under, letting them know that their 16 and older child would have the opportunity to go get the vaccination, or where are we at in that process?
I can speak for my staff. No, we didn't reach out to parents, but it's probably a good idea and I can start doing that.
Yeah, eventually, we're going to open those things back up, and they are going to have those folks that work the front counter, things like that over there, even if they're doing the maintenance or something like that, are going to have a lot of access with people. Um, so it might be worth, unless you know, and unless somebody disagrees, but it's just my personal opinion is I believe 2 of the vaccines have been deemed safe, 16 and older, and would be available to those folks, but we have to put that out to the parent, let the parent um, schedule those appointments for their kid. But that would be totally up to them. But I want to make sure that if that's an opportunity for them, that we're putting that out there, that we're checking that block, so to say.
Just a
Anybody
heads
else?
up for you, Jed. Matthews, VU, and the World Arena, Centura Health, as far as vaccination is concerned, they're following all the guidelines. So they're doing 1B4 right now for the guidelines. Centura was completely wiped out for appointments today. So on the second side, if you guys are looking to get vaccinated and you fit in those categories, the guidelines for the state, Matthews VU, I got an appointment there in less than an hour. So, and I called in, was cleared already, and I made an appointment and they saw me the same day. So, it was actually my wife's vaccination. I got vaccinated the other day at World Arena when they had that opened up. Then my wife got vaccinated today, and she had finished that phone call at 11 o'clock this morning, and they had an appointment for it for 3 o'clock this afternoon. So,
And also, anybody that's interested, Eastern Plains out in Callahan has a bunch of doses too as well. My husband got his there.
no, perfect.
And then UC Health just sent out a mass invitation yesterday and today. They just got a big shipment of vaccines in as well. So
Awesome.
So it seems
And
that,
Centura just got another huge batch too.
so it seems that, vaccines are becoming more readily available. What the health department contacted me about was providing whatever class we fell into because they considered us essential. And the opportunity to get a vaccination was open to all staff members of Woodman Hills. But like I said, I would have expected anybody that was interested to have taken advantage of it. And if teenagers needed their parents' permission or involvement, that was a personal matter. But our appointment was made with a King Soopers or Safeway or something down in the Broadmoor area, I believe it was. So we were told specifically where to go to get a vaccine. But
So, Jerry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, we could encourage, everyone to talk with their parents, I guess, or I don't know about absolutely contacting their parents. Do you have that contact information, Jed?
No, but I'm sure we could gather it if we spoke to each kid individually. Take a little
just want to
time.
make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure that if it's offered, that they're aware of it and they have the opportunity. So
Another thing too is that some businesses are actually going out and paying for that hour of their time to go get that done. Do we have the ability to incentivize our staff to go get that done and receive an hour's pay?
Well, like I was saying, it's been brought up, but whether they're going to have workplaces have the ability to mandate vaccinations, just like, mandating vaccinations to get on an airplane or to get into Canada or something, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not, I understand. And the problem is making mandatory vaccinations is not what we're looking to push for.
No,
It's
I
really-
don't, and I don't mean to imply that. I was just saying, what would we do to incentivize people to get vaccinated? I'm not sure.
Well, I trained one of my kids to pee on Cheerios and that worked pretty well. So maybe an hour and pay him up out. I don't know, if there's a reason to time off getting off work, or if they just don't believe in vaccination, which is fine. It's a free country. So I think we all stand by that. Me personally, I'm vaccinated. I will continue to get my second shot, and that's the way I feel about it. So I would rather not get sick at all. If I did, I would rather not get sick and be in the hospital. So that's just me. That being said, the rest of our homeowners are in this area as well. So if they choose
Well,
to get
and
vaccinated,
if you would get COVID, Neil, you get to see me, and I don't know how much fun that would be.
I don't know if you want to see me sick, because I'm not a very nice guy when I'm sick. So that's
All right. Any other business? Okay. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn by Stacy. A second. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Neil. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Y'all have a great weekend, and we will talk to y'all soon.
Take care, everybody.
All right. You too.